Ian Ruto will only want to disorganize. And this one is a plan A of the whole scenario ya hiyo vitu zote tumesema. Plan B, hakutakuwa na elections.
That is plan B.
Plan B hakutakuwa.
How will that even be possible?
It will be possible.
How?
Ukiona kitu nazungumzwa na Museveni kusema boda ya pwani ni pate ya Kenya, na akasema future could be war. If they can stage manage a war between Kenya and Uganda. Because they can.
How now?
Yeah?
How?
What you heard Museveni said, it's possible. He ended one era and started an era. And that's why he had to go to the grave to take over. To finish the game that he started at Uhuru Park. This is something that it is not you. You are led. You are God-led. Yes. It is not Kalonzo. And that's why I told you, if Kalonzo misses this one, God will just take him away. Because he is God-led now. He is not the Kalonzo man who plans. He is God-led.
You want to say, sai nyota ya uongozi kwa kujua Kalonzo?
Iko kwa Kalonzo. By all means. By all means. Sasa mtu mwenye anaweza kumugonga na ana uwezo wa kumugonga ni Ruto. Si ya wengine wote. Even if who comes and says Kalonzo tosha, nani aseme Kalonzo, everybody in Kenya waseme Kalonzo tosha, Ruto can still be able to defeat him. Because wisdom comes from heaven. So Solomon became a king, but without wisdom. Because the kingdom that was given belonged to his father David. So it was an extension of his father. So he wanted to cut the lineage between him and the father so that he can build his own territory. Are you seeing now?
Yeah.
And to build your own territory, you have to break the altars of your father. You break the altars of your generational altars, the altars that rule in your family, for you to become independent. You have to cut the umbilical cord for you to become yourself. So what actually happened is that Uhuru went to the graveside. He prayed, he did whatever he did, but he never gave a sacrifice.
Maybe he did that in secret.
He didn't take cows. An altar is serviced by which formed it. Are you getting me now? An altar is serviced by what founded it. The kingdom of the Luo community, the Wanga kingdom, is founded by the altars where cows are involved. Bulls are involved. Are you getting me? But the man who knew and he knew what to do, he took a delegation. 2 delegations. 2 types of delegation, 3 types of delegations. He took the traditionalists from Mukambani. You getting me? He took the politicians from Mukambani. And he also took the religious leaders, the pastors, the bishops. He went with them. Then he knew I have to take something from there. He went with more than 130. There are more.
Yeah.
Some died. Some were weak to be brought. Somebody who was there told me there were about 200. Some that were weak to be shown were left behind. But the ones that were shown were 150. And once they did what he did, he came with the instruments
of
power from the Ukambani to exchange with the instruments of power from the Luo so that they can merge together. Yeah, the mortician and the owner of the mortuary, those 6-7 people, they have the truth behind what happened and what went wrong and how it went. You see, if you do some calculations, why will they have a total chaos at the airport? That's question number 1. Was it not meant for the confusion? Number 2, when you have a delegation from Kenya all the way to India, a Kenyan airway to India, with medial people to India, our customs and our culture, and any culture on earth, you must go witness what you are carrying. The family, yes, can witness, but this was a government project. Minister Musalia Mudavadi and the other ministers that were there could have gone to witness what is this that we are carrying back to Kenya. you find that this woman will go to heaven. Will go to heaven at some point, because these people that don't, they just used her to bring their own candidate who is next behind her.
Well,
Jimbi is Mtandao, CCM Mtandao.
So-
He's a candidate of that's Jakaya Kikwete.
so umesema kuna uwezekano wa nusu mlingoti.
Sio kuna uwezekano, kuna nusu mlingoti Tanzania,
Tayari.
kuna nusu mlingoti Uganda.
Yeah.
So what is likely to happen? Emmanuel is being poised to become the president. And you can see now he's moving. He was in SADC. He was addressing SADC. He will be moving all over. Because this, the Mutandao want him to become the president. But after they made sure that he has, Samia has to win so that JB can become the deputy president, and then Samia is eliminated for JB to rise up and become a president.
Apostle, is that a prophecy?
That is a coup. That was an internal coup to bring Tanganyikans into power. Because to remove the Zanzibari and bring the Tanganyikan into power. So what will happen is that the pressure as is being mounted, the ICC pressure, the international pressure, next month, or maybe this month or next month, there will be another major uprising, and there will be a huge demand for Lissu to be removed, to come out of prison, and all political prisoners will be set free, and there will be too much pressure for Mama to resign. And as the pressure will be too much for Mama to resign, then they will organize something, and Mama will mysteriously go to heaven and stay with God, just as Baba went. And every economical venture in Tanzania is run by these people, and they are very vicious and dangerous, and their head is Jakaya Kikwete. This woman, Samia Suluhu Hassan, I pity her because she's not in power, she's not in control, she's just a puppet. And people have been killed in her name. And she is going to go to the ICC on account of things that were done by other people. The same thing will happen to Uganda. No matter how popular this guy, Chagulani, is. Chagulani, I don't see him becoming a president. I see him somehow, somewhere, being assassinated or something bad happening to him. He will not get to power. By who? Not by Museveni. By a cartel that is in Uganda.
Mambo vipi? Of course, once again, tumekutana na Apostle mwenyewe, Apostle Ndura wa Ruingi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yule mmoja,
the one and only. And of course, due to public demands, mambo yamekuwa kitendeka mengi, especially in East Africa.
Yeah.
And people were like, what's happening? What's going on in Tanzania? What's really happening?
If I can remember very well, those early days we started meeting with you, there's something I told you about the East Africa, what will be happening in East and Central Africa. And East and Central Africa, I mean, by large, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Burundi, DRC, and some parts of Zambia, some parts of Malawi, some parts of this area. It's a territory, it's a kingdom. People never know the Kush kingdom. We had the Kush kingdom that is a vast kingdom that came from Tumbuksi kingdom, that's from Mali, and the Ethiopian kingdom, that's Kush kingdom. Then we had another kingdom that was led by Ahuisero in the Bible, which came right from Africa, Kenya, going up to the Middle East, the one they call the Middle East. Then you go to South Africa, that is Nyasaland and the Rhodesia land. We had another kingdom there. Those were African kingdoms that were dominating. And in East Africa, we had kingdoms like we had the Banyoro, Batoro, Wanga. Go to Rwanda, we had all those kingdoms that were managing. And these kingdoms it's like they are resurrecting. The spirit of these kingdoms are resurrecting. You find that in Uganda, it is like people are pushing towards a particular way of thinking. If you come to the Kenyan system, the same thing is happening. People are being galvanized together because on political, economical issues and also tribal issues. And you go to Tanzania, predominantly Tanzania was about people coming out of an old-aged system to a new-aged system. And also the people in Tanzania refusing completely to say that indeed we are caught up. Time has caught up with us, so we need to change. We have to drastically do some changes. That is a social change, political change, and economical changes. If you look at Ethiopia, Ethiopia has really come up very strongly, and you look at them, in terms of politics, they're doing well. In terms of economy, they're doing well. They're able to make decisions on particularly the dam that they constructed was 100% locally funded. And if you look at the government of Ethiopia is led by young people. You look at Kagame, Kagame has made Rwanda to become a kingdom, and Uganda the same. But all in all, there is turmoil in East Africa. There is a reshuffle from heaven. And the reshuffle, as you had, Kenya had to ignite the fire. The agencies ignited the fire. Then it was it's being spread slowly to other nations. And far, wide and far, is being spread. But Kenya is the source of the fire. Meaning Kenya being the kingdom, that's why I started with the kingdom. Kenya being the king, the ancient kingdoms that ruled this region have come back again to bring that change. Because change of the world comes transitionally after a particular season, after a particular number of years. The same thing that happened or transited somewhere, it reoccurs again for another transition. So what is happening in Kenya, in Tanzania, in Uganda, in Rwanda, very soon you'll see now resistance in Rwanda and Burundi. You see what is happening, what happened to Malawi. See what happened to the president of Zambia when he attended inaugurations of Tanzania. He doesn't have peace now in
his own country.
He doesn't have peace because of attending an inauguration that was illegally done. So this is a revolution. And this is a revolution that its time has come and nobody can be able to stop it. What you saw in Tanzania, I will discuss it in depth, then go around East Africa, then back to Kenya. What happened in Tanzania, it was an indicator of what is about to happen. First of all, before you start the real struggle, you start a struggle by emancipating your mind first. Then you can get into the struggle of what you want to emancipate. This is what Bob Marley said, emancipate your mind of slavery, because none but yourself can free your mind. If you look at Tanzania has been in the yokes of the CCM, doctrine of the CCM, the philosophy of CCM, and nothing they want to change. And no political party is allowed to come and take power. If you remember the day of this Masai man, Lowassa won the election recently, but they took it away from me because they didn't believe in CCM being not in power. Because the police, if you see the motorcade of the police, they don the colors of CCM. The uniform of those men, if they don the color of CCM, everything you look at it is the color of CCM. Meaning they are not ready to hand over any power to anybody. Any other political party, because they have brainwashed the people of Tanzania that whoever that comes in Tanzania is coming to steal our resources. Any political party that is being brought, where Chadema, whichever the party, it is Kenya funded. It is Kenya organized.
That's what they believe.
Yeah, that's what they believe. And the Kenyans remember the days of Nyerere said, if you want to go to England, UK, London, don't waste your money going to London. Just come to Nairobi and you'll see London you want to see. That is where we have people who does not believe in their nation, who does not love their nation, who does not love themselves, who hate themselves, they are tribalists. That's the description Nyerere had towards Kenya. And this is what brought about the breaking of the East African Cooperation those days. Because they regarded Kenya as a colonial face of East Africa. And therefore, they cannot allow the mindset of colonial people to get into Tanzania, because they will erode the good morals, the good statutes of the Tanzanian people. Why? Because the foundation of Tanzania was founded on communism.
Yeah.
And therefore, communism they don't own. Communist is now that they are owning. But previously, anything that was done in Tanzania was owned by state. Whether you work, whether you're doing anything, whether you are farming, whether it's nothing, nobody owned anything in Tanzania. Until now, things are changing drastically. People are owning land, people are owning businesses, which are not co-owned by the government. Because for them, before that, it was a government owned, everything was owned. But like we go to Russia, it is a socialistic country, communist country, where anything and everything is government owned. So that mentality made Tanzania to be very poor, because people never worked for developing of the nation, because they believe whatever you are doing, you are not doing for yourself, you are doing for the nation. And this is the ideology that Nyerere had towards the Tanzanian people, that they make them so poor to rule them forever and to control them forever. So the problem that happened now there is what now they are now reaping. What they planted long time ago is what now they are reaping, because after all these years of brainwashing people, there is a gap between a new generation that want change, a new generation that want to own, because this younger generation, they have come to Kenya, they have gone to Tanzania, they have gone to Uganda, they have gone to Malawi, they have gone to Europe, and they know exactly that there is a right of ownership. They know that for you to grow, for a country to grow, you will need to have entrepreneurship and people who are working and doing things. But remember the strategic plan of the Nyerere doctrinization of Tanganyika, and then bringing Zanzibar together to form what we call Tanzania. It is a foundation that was laid by the CCM doctrine that is trained. You know, the CCM has a university, has a college, where you are taught about the principles of CCM. You go to class to be taught about CCM. You learn CCM, you live CCM. Number two, for you to become a member of parliament, apart from today, nowadays, during the Mukapa days, Mwinyi days, after Nyerere, you had to be an army officer for you to become a member of parliament. You must have gone through the army training. You must have gone through the CCM college for you to become a member of parliament or any leader. You see, like Kikwete is a military man. All of those yes, they were military men. Kikwete was a Mukapa, all the people that have been presidents in Tanzania, they were military men. Apart now after Magufuli. No, even Magufuli was not. He was not a military man, but he went through the college of CCM to be indoctrinated and given that the foundations of the CCM. So what is happening now, it is removing a doctrine from people. The old people that have a doctrine have a fear of that doctrine, because they have a fear of the doctrine. And because of this fear, they want to spread the fear to the people who does not understand the doctrine. People who have been taught by Kenyan teachers, people who have been taught by Ugandan teachers, people who have gone to Makerere University, Nairobi University, St. Mary's schools in Tanzania, and those schools have really changed the minds and the mindset of the Tanzanian people. And now we have Akina Kikwete who are still indoctrinated into the systems of Nyerereism and the CCM, and also the communism, that is Russia, because Russia was a partner to Tanzania. So these people, and also the Chinese, these people, we have two classes of people. People that is not of the mindset of the older generation, but vis-a-vis are people that want to have their own rights. They want to live like Kenyans. They want to live like the British people. They want to live like any other people. And also, another factor, big factor that has really blown out the Tanzania, those people, is the social media. where everybody has access to the social media. You see anything. You remember when they had the blackout of the social media, they said they are blacking it out because they are stopping it because kuna the immorals in the social media, pornography and all this kind of things.
Why they are banning it?
Yeah, and that's why they were banning it. But you find all government operatives, they had Twitter. So you keep asking yourself, how will you stop an ordinary person from being watching pornography and yet a government officer with the children, their children, they are still watching it. So ni maadili gani hayo? So literally now you find because of the confusion, there is a group of business people that rules Tanzania. Tanzania is not ruled by politicians. It's ruled by business people that are ruling the party. The people are ruling the CCM. And Humphrey Polepole calls them Mutandao. Mutandao, CCM Mutandao. And these are goons, political goons and social goons and also economical goons. They're the one who run the economy of Tanzania. Every mineral we find in Tanzania, every economical venture in Tanzania is run by these people. And they are very vicious and dangerous. And their head is Jakaya Kikwete. This woman, Samia Suluhu Hassan, I pity her because she's not in power. She's not in control. She's just a puppet. And people have been killed in her name. And she is going to go to the ICC on account of things that were done by other people. You see, these are the very, very, very dangerous people that if they find their army is not reliable, the police is not reliable, they just call for, there's a general in Uganda who owns an army outfit that is for hire, the machineries that are for hire. This Kayupuga, the son of
Muhoozi,
and there is another general that is in the system, in the Uganda system. They have an army that is in Sudan, that it goes to fight Sudan. If you need them, you find them in Mali, you find them in DRC, you find them all over. This is a cartel, an army that is used to coerce, fight, destroy, dismantle structures for economical purposes. The people who killed the Tanzanians came from Uganda. Remember the days Mother Karua said about there were an army, people, an outfit in Kenya, and there's an outfit,
foreign militias.
Foreign militias. Yeah. These are the same people that went to Tanzania. These are they are Ugandans. They are trained militias for hire, for machinery purposes, and therefore this tells you that in East Africa there is a system that is in Kenya, system that is in Tanzania, system that is in Uganda, that is economical system for the business people, and they have their own president and their own system and their own government and their own army. Therefore, they will work and do anything possible to make sure that one of them is not removed or a regime is not removed. A regime is maintained. Like now, the first person to congratulate Samia Suluhu Hassan was Ruto. Why? If you go to Tanzania, there are so many investments Ruto has in Tanzania. Remember when these Akina Bob Bujage were arrested? They were arrested in a petrol station owned by Ruto. Yeah. In Uganda. So Ruto will be the last person to condemn Museveni. Ruto will be the last person to condemn Samia Hassan. And remember, Ruto did not go alone. He went to Tanzania with a group of business people. And this group of business people in Tanzania, they also have businesses in Kenya. They also have businesses in Uganda. Therefore, for them is to make sure whoever that comes to power must be their own. If it's not their own, they will make sure they do a similar thing that they did in Tanzania, that to make sure that the president there wins by 98%. The same thing will happen to Uganda. No matter how popular this guy, Kyagulanyi, is. Kyagulanyi, I don't see him becoming a president. I see him somehow, somewhere, being assassinated or something bad happening to him. He will not get to power. By who? Not by Museveni. By a cartel that is in Uganda. A cartel that is running the affairs of Uganda. A cartel that has kept this Mzee into prisons.
The BCJ.
The BCJ. The cartel the same cartel operates in Tanzania. The same Tanzania cartel operates in Kenya. So it is a system. that is operating. But now look at Kenyan side. Kenyan side will be a bit different from the side, what is happening in Tanzania and what is happening in Uganda. The Kenyan side, they are dealing now with educated and intellectual people who are ready to go to Tanzania to liberate their brothers. People who are ready to go to Uganda to liberate. So this one needs a lot of chemistry, a lot of planning. And this is what you see now, if you watch keenly on what Uhuru is doing, is exactly what Jakaya Kikwete are doing in Tanzania. Is exactly what is happening in Uganda. And you can see Uhuru can just give a phone call to Uganda and somebody is set free. Now you can imagine the cartel I'm talking about, the system I'm talking about. For the Kenyan system is to make sure that Ruto does not become the next president. Because Ruto, if he becomes the next president, as we are talking now, for the next term, it will be so dangerous for the cartel, the establishment that we have. Because now, when Raila died, it was a big blow to the insiders who wanted to control Ruto from inside. Raila was not pro-Ruto. Completely was not pro-Ruto. That's why he had two ODMs. An ODM fighting Ruto and an ODM supporting Ruto. And that's Raila for you. And the ODM for Ruto is stagnated in Ruto. But they don't know now the move has moved on. When you see now Uhuru moving around the country, galvanizing Jubilee Party, protecting Gachagua, now it's another system that is being created. And this system now is to make sure that Ruto will never become the president. Are you getting me now?
Yeah. Kuna aspect ya Tanzania ambayo nimeona watu wakizungumzia sana. People are talking about, Samia Suluhu Hassan. Can she even, right, in as much as this system that is controlling everything, so does that mean that she can't run the country? And what is the future for her?
Remember the people who put Samia into power. The people who put Samia into power are is Akina Uhuru Kenyatta, Jakaya Kikwete, and Museveni. Those are the people who put Samia. It was this way. When this gentleman died, Magufuli died, according to the constitution of Tanzania and according to the arrangement, Zanzibar-Tanganyika arrangement, you cannot have two presidents from
the same region.
From the same region, from Zanzibar.
As in, you can't have executive can't come from the same region.
President of Tanganyika from Zanzibar and the Zanzibar having a president. Because we have a Zanzibar from Zanzibar. Zanzibar has a president. And then Samia comes from Zanzibar. According to the agreement between Tanganyika and Zanzibar, when the president of Tanganyika must come from Tanganyika. The person who is ruling Tanganyika must come from Tanganyika. And this is where the argument was. You see now, the Tanganyika people are arguing that we cannot have our man to be elected a president in Zanzibar. But we are having your man being elected a president in Tanganyika.
Oh, that is their main argument.
Their main argument is that Tanganyika has colonized, Zanzibar has colonized Tanganyika. And the people in the government, the police that were sent to assist the Ugandan police, they are from Zanzibar. Who went to Dar es Salaam, who went to Dodoma, who went to Arusha, the KKM. Kikosi cha Mapinduzi, kitu kama hiyo. So the Zanzibarian and the man in charge of running the government, like is the Felix Koskei of Kenya? The secretary of the cabinet. The man in charge of running the country is a Zanzibarian. And the police, everything is infiltrated by the people from Zanzibar. So it's like the Tanganyika people, they are looking at it and see that they have been colonized. But who brought this confusion? The man that brought this confusion is Jakaya Kikwete na CCM Mtandao. Because for them, they want to remove this Zanzibarian from power, but they could not do it before the election. Are you getting me now? They could not do it before the election. If they did it before the election, this woman could have rebelled. And of course, if she was the president, she could have rebelled and do anything. And then the political party CCM was in turmoil when it had a lot of internal wrangles. Akina Gwajima and many others who are so strong inside the party and speaking openly in the party. We find 50% of the party members of the CCM are not pro the system that is existing. Therefore, when according to the plan, the analytical plan they did, is that they discovered that if we remove this woman now, we will not be able to get the right person. Because any other person in the CCM leadership that could have ascended to power was not part of the CCM Mtandao. It's like in Gwajima, Pole Pole, and many others. Yeah. They are the top notch, they are top cream in the nation, loved by people in the nation, loved by members of the party, so they could have easily taken over and were not part of the CCM Mtandao. So they opted to maintain this mama, akuwe president, they rig for her, akuwe president, then they do the Magufuli style on her. Then Jimbi becomes the president. Because Jimbi is a CCM Mtandao.
Jimmy now, who is Jimmy?
The deputy president. So this man is poised to become the president of the, just like what they did to Magufuli. Because Magufuli, when he was brought to power, they thought he will sing their song. When they discovered he's not singing their song, he had to go. The same thing, the person who is likely to be arrested by the ICC, it is who? It is Samia Suluhu Hassan and the son. Samia Suluhu Hassan, the son, and some of the army officers who are retiring now. We're just going home.
Yeah.
So what is likely to happen? Emmanuel is being poised to become the president. And you can see now he's moving. He was in SADC. He was addressing SADC. He will be moving all over. Because this, the Mutandao want him to become the president. But after they made sure that he has, Samia has to win so that Jimbi can become the deputy president, and then Samia is eliminated for Jimbi to rise up and become a president.
Apostle, is that a prophecy?
That is a coup. That was an internal coup to bring Tanganyikans into power. To remove the Zanzibari and bring the Tanganyikan into power. So what will happen is that the pressure as is being mounted, the ICC pressure, the international pressure, next month, maybe next month, or maybe this month or next month, there will be another major uprising, and there will be a huge demand for Lissu to be removed, to come out of prison, and all political prisoners will be set free, and there will be too much pressure for Mama to resign. And as the pressure will be too much for Mama to resign, then they will organize something, and Mama will mysteriously go to heaven and stay with God, just as Baba went. And therefore, yes. You find that this woman will go to heaven. Will go to heaven at some point, because these people that don't, they just used her to bring their own candidate who is next behind her.
What?
Jimbi is a Mtandao, CCM Mtandao. So, a candidate of that's Jakaya Kikwete.
So umesema kuna uwezekano wa nusu mlingoti?
Sio kuna uwezekano, kuna nusu mlingoti Tanzania, kuna nusu mlingoti Uganda. There will be new faces around. Therefore, what I'm saying, nasema ni kwamba the politics of Tanzania is not far off. CCM has an opposition within itself. And Mama is alone. One thing she doesn't know, Mama is alone. She was just put there for Jakaya Kikwete operations, and they did the operations. They have succeeded. Now, this man who is a cool man, Jimbi is a cool man, and the man that will protect the interest of these people. will rise and take over.
So,
Just like what happened to Magufuli. So these are two things. To them, the gods are working nicely towards their direction. When there's too much pressure, Samia you killed, Samia you did, Samia must be, the Americans are coming in, British is coming in, all over the world, the ICC, the United Nations are coming in, Kenyans are going there. For them, it is an advantage. The CCM Mutandao, it is an advantage. What will happen is a heart attack will come. It will be a heart attack. Therefore, it will be a normal death. But it will not be normal. Yeah. It will be normal, but it will not be normal. It's just like what you saw with Baba. It was normal.
But it's not
But
normal.
if you do the calculations,
It's not normal.
it's not normal.
So let's say kwenye camera it will be normal, but behind the scenes
Behind the scene, they will have done it. They will
strings
have
are
done
being
it.
pulled.
They're pulled. Even now the mama cannot be able to move out. The mama is confined. She's under house arrest, but under the intelligence. Stay in house, stay in, don't move. Don't
If
go
she's
there.
moving anywhere, she has to move in a controlled crowd.
They have to go in a controlled crowd, a controlled life, a controlled presidency. Now that is when you know Jakaya is in power. Jakaya, Humphrey Polepole was to be released this week, but Jakaya refused, said no, wacha kae ndani. Because they want to incite. All these people that were put inside, like Tundu Lissu, Heche, this Humphrey Polepole, and those are the clerics that were put inside. They were not put inside by this mama. No, this mama was not responsible. She doesn't even know where they are. Akina Jakaya Kikwete took them in to incite. They were done in Arusha, they were done all over. It was a blessing in disguise, or something organized by the internal forces in CCM to blackmail and paint a bad picture to this woman. So they were hitting two birds with one stone. They were tainting the picture, they were tainting this mama. They also did something drastic to bring the mama into power by force. So when she's going to be removed, everybody will be so happy. When the JP takes over, everybody now will go calm and say, indeed, let's have this one. This is a better option. And then Nani Tundu Lissu will be removed. Of course, Tundu Lissu cannot be able to win an election in Tanzania. And
As long as CCM is still ruling.
Yeah, and as long as they don't have a base, they don't have a bigger base like a CCM. And you know, most of the Tanzanians, about 70% of the Tanzanians are illiterate people. They still go to the villages, they still believe Nyerere is in power. They still believe that Nyerere is in power. They don't know we have had 4 presidents along the way. They still believe Nyerere is in power. It is now that their children are telling them it is not Nyerere who is in power, somebody else is in power. So what has happened in Tanzania is a classic case of deceit amongst the leadership and amongst the purported leader. Suluhu is a purported leader who is not a leader. Suluhu does not understand what is happening in Tanzania. Suluhu is the hakutakuwa na nywi ama nywi. Then you find nywi taking control and things are happening all over. And that is how they are going to eliminate him, because now she has done the mathematics they wanted. She has achieved what they wanted to achieve for them. And now it is time for her to exit from stage.
So when do you think this can happen?
The pressure from outside will become as a catalyst. But for them, the projection is 1 year. But the projection of heaven is 6 months.
If 6 months meisha kama hawajafanya hiyo kitu lazima, then she's safe.
She could be safe, but not without, I'm talking about 1 year. But the projection 6 months, but the actual projection is 1 year. But 6 months ya kitoboa ni ngumu.
Kuna vile the issue ya Tanganyika na Zanzibari. Of course, hiyo ni discussion nakuwa nikifuatilia sana on the internet. And Tanzanians are saying it is time now
They separate.
They separate.
Because the Zanzibar has got nothing they are providing to the Tanganyikans. And now see, the bigger share of the leadership of Tanzania now is with what? Zanzibar. Zanzibar, they have their own president. And nobody from Tanganyika can go to Zanzibar and vie for and sit there. They cannot be allowed. You can't be allowed from Tanganyika to go and vie. But people from Tanganyika, from Zanzibar, they come to Tanganyika and they vie. Nobody stops them. The president now is from Zanzibar. The men in charge of the government, the whole system of the government, the inner now, the ministers, the
deep state now.
The deep state is all from Zanzibar. The people who murdered so many people in Dar es Salaam are KKM. KKM comes from Zanzibar. So the problem now is like, you Zanzibarian, you want to colonize us, or you are colonizing us. Look here, the Zanzibarians, they have got nothing they are bringing back to the Tanganyika. Tanganyika is the main bread basket of the entire nation. They feed them, they give them the resources, minerals and everything that we find from Tanganyika, and bado inajenga Zanzibar, because Zanzibar is part of Tanzania. So you find resources, ni kama venye unaonanga Wakikuyu wakisema one man, one shilling. Because it is about you, what do you produce? You, what are you giving to the state coffers? You, what is your income that you, so that we can share equally? What have you brought on the table for us to share equally? Just a similar scenario unaonanga Kenya ya Wakikuyu na other tribes. Unaona kwa mfano, I was checking on this one. A constituency in Mandera, a county like now, the northeastern, the Mandera, the Garissa, you find wanapatio, for example now, wanapatio 100 million shillings. The same money is given to Kiambu. The Kiambu population, the voters population only, the voters, the 1 million. So voters able multiply na kitu kama 10, utapata, the population in Kiambu is about 5 million. The population itself is about children, mama na wote, those who are voting and those who cannot be able to vote. Give them 7 million. The 100 million given to Turkana is the same to Garissa, is the same money given to Kiambu for bursaries. Now, if you go to Garissa, we have a population of 200,000 people. The voters there are about 100,000. A population like over 500,000. You have been given 100 million, they have been given 100 million. So in Garissa, people are paid for air ticket to come and study in Nairobi on bursary. Air ticket ya bursary. Air ticket ya pocket money. Air ticket ya medical facilities. Unakuta the air ticket plus all these things, a child is given 200,000, 300,000 shillings. But you come to Kiambu, the bursary is given to a child is 5,000 shillings, 2,000 shillings.
Because of the population now.
Because of the population. So that is the inequality Tanzania is trying to address. And this is the same inequality challenge that is here in Kenya, the same as in Uganda, the same as in Rwanda, where you have the minority Tutsis ruling over the majority Hutu. The same thing is happening in Zambia, where Hichilame comes from and where Mutharika comes from. So you find it is an equation of inequality. It's the same thing that is happening with the Oromos in Ethiopia, and also the same thing is happening with the Somalia people, where you have the Puntland and the normal Somalia. It's about the equation of inequality. And this equation of inequality is the one that is going to be used by the haters of East Africa. And they perpetuate a warfare that will make people, Americans, British, to come and regain back, the colonialists, to come and regain back the East Africa. Because East Africa is a portal, is a spiritual portal that rules the world. That is where you find the Queen became a queen while in Kenya. Charles had to come back to Kenya to pay allegiance with the system. And you look at Uganda now, Museveni is claiming the Indian Ocean is his through Kenya. Remember the Idi Amin Dada had said, hapo mpaka
Hadi
Mai Mahiu.
Yeah, ilikuwa ni Mai Mahiu.
Yeah, he meant Mai Mahiu. Mai Mahiu is in Naivasha. That is where he meant. Because now he was saying that is where Central Kenya starts. Rift Valley ends there. So Rift Valley was his.
So if able to tell story, what really went down at that time?
So this guy, Idi Amini, what he did is that he said from, the Wanga Kingdom.
Yeah.
Wanga Kingdom was from all the way from Uganda to Kenya. And the Wanga Kingdom ruled up until Nakuru area. Those were when there were bushes. And this is where they controlled some places. So they used that narrative to say that from Uganda to Mai Mahiu, that is where the boundary of Kenya is, between Kenya and Uganda is. And they said they are going to walk up where? Mpaka hapa, mpaka Naivasha, and take over. And they want Kenyatta now to prepare, they are coming to take over their nation. Luckily enough, Kenyatta was tough and they was able to stop them. Again, after they realized Kenyatta has stopped them, they went to Lake Nyasa. Nyasa is between the Uganda-Tanzania border. And they occupied the lake. And they said, this is our lake and we are going to own it. Then Nyerere with his army, they came and they removed them from the lake. And they didn't stop there. They went on to remove Idi Amin.
So in essence, if it would have been successful right now, Nyanza
mpaka Nakuru
ingekuwa Uganda.
Ingekuwa Uganda. Sasa Kenya ingekuwa Kenya, ingekuwa Mount Kenya and some parts of Ukambani, because going to coast, also coast is Kenya, Pwani is Kenya. Yeah. They also had a similar arrangement with the Sultan in Mombasa. Zanzibaris and Mombasas, visiwa vyote vya Manda Islands, zozote, they were under the Sultan. So they were not part of the Kenyan treaty. They were not part of the Kenyan system. So Kenya could have been Ukambani, Meru. It would be a small nation like Rwanda. Merus, the Kikuyus, and the Kisis will be in Uganda. The Luyas will be in Uganda.
And the Luos too.
The Luos will be in Uganda.
Plus the Kalenjins.
And the Kalenjins, all of them, they will be running for Uganda. Uganda will be the most populous nation in terms of athletics.
Actually, a rumor is told that at that time when Idi Amin was planning to invade Kenya, Kenyatta took wanajeshi wa Kenya akawavalisha sijui nguo za NYS.
Walivalisha NYS. Wakaenda wakatwanga watu kule mpakani sana. And he was told, don't dare do this again or even mention or even dream such a thing again. And this is what I was telling people, do not panic of what Museveni is doing. We can take our NYS to deal with the NRM.
Inajulikana kama Uganda National People's Defense Forces.
The People Defense Forces. They can be dealt with anyway. Our NYS is capable to deal with them. Uganda should not worry any Kenyan at all. At all. What we know about Ugandans, they are just criminals. They are just mercenaries for hire. And we are better. We have better teams to deal with that. We are the Mau Maus. We are the people who fought for the nation of this country, for the freedom of this nation. And I don't think they can, nobody should be and go and sleep without us. We need to go and cut some part of Uganda and tell them, now do what you can do. Museveni was groomed here in Kenya. We gave him food here. He used to live in Kawangware. Yeah. And his wife used to work in Ngandu High School. In Nyeri. That is where the wife used to work as a teacher. So this is a product of Kenya. And again, Museveni is not a Ugandan. Museveni is a Tutsi.
From Rwanda?
He's a Rwandese. So we need also to go and liberate Uganda from foreigners who are ruling the Ugandan nation. And they liberate it from the Tutsi people. They send people, like we have Banyamulenge in DRC. This is the same people, the Tutsi people, who are ruling Uganda by force, and they have remained there because they think they are a kingdom. So for me, if I was to be asked, we don't need to ask Ruto any permission or anybody any permission. We have our young boys who can send them there. We can even wake up Mungiki and go and deal with them. It's enough for them.
Now, Apostle, on the issue of governance, especially umeongelea kuhusu how systems are being ruled in Kenya, and or rather in East Africa.
Yes.
When we come back to Kenya, you have mentioned a crucial thing that umesema they're trying to control how things are being run in Kenya.
Yes.
And one of the people who used to control is Raila Odinga.
Yes.
However, he's no longer in the picture.
Yeah, Raila is not in the picture now. We're talking about post-Raila scenario. What is going to happen? If you can look, and I indicated to you when mulikuwa munazika Raila, you could see the scramble for the spirit of Raila. It is not that they are after the grave, or they are after the Raila. Wajioneshana kwa Raila alikuwa, mimi nilikuwa napenda Raila sana. It is the scramble for the spirit that was in Raila. You remember when Raila died? Raila did not die in India. Raila died in Kenya. I don't think at any single day Raila left this country. At any single day until he was buried. I don't think, I'm not sure, but I don't think. If you can go speak to the walls of the Rim-Mortuary, they can give you a better story than what we know. They can give you a better story. But there is, because he has rested, let's leave it at that. And because we have accepted, although me, I will never accept it, because me, what I know, there are only 2 people who can give you the truth about it. 3 people. The driver, the bodyguard, Winnie, and Ruth. Those 4 people. And also the intelligence system of Kenya. And also add now the morgue attendant, mortician. Yeah, the mortician. And the owner of the Rim-Mortuary. Those 6, 7 people, they have the truth behind what happened and what went wrong and how it went. You see, if you do some calculations, why will they have a total chaos at the airport? That's question number 1. Was it not meant for the confusion? Number 2, when you have a delegation from Kenya all the way to India, a Kenyan airway to India, with medial people to India, our customs and our culture, and any culture on earth, you must go witness what you are carrying. The family, yes, can witness, but this was a government project. Minister Musalia Mudavadi and the other ministers that were there could have gone to witness, what is this that we are carrying back to Kenya? Are we carrying stones? Are we carrying boughs? Are we carrying a body of a human being? Are you seeing me?
Yeah.
That they could have been given. It took only 30 minutes. The plane lands, it is not switched off. They go, they pick. The army comes, picks the body, takes. That's the end of it. Then the same thing happens at the Jomo Kenyatta. That's another question. Then after that, the body is meant to be taken straight to Lee for preparation. The crowds makes it so impossible. They change route. They say, let's go to Parliament. They found Parliament is inaccessible. They decide to go to Kasarani. Once at Kasarani, another vehicle carrying a coffin comes to Kasarani. That's a big question. Another vehicle carrying a coffin to Kasarani. Then it gets inside the pavilion where you have the VIP pavilion. Then they say the doctors from Kenya Army are preparing the body. The morticians from the Kenya Army are preparing the body. And because people were in this belief, they were just calling for everything. Kenya Army, for the first time, they had to shoot Rayas for the first time. While you were Raya.
But those were not Kenya Army.
Who are they?
The bodyguards were the presidential bodyguard, because you could see where they were standing. The Kipchumba Murkomen, the Minister of Interior, was trying to show them, don't shoot.
Don't shoot.
And
only to come and discover he's stopping people who are not stoppable. Who are answerable to none. Tuache hiyo story. Ili itatuondoa. Tuachane na hiyo. So So all the people that are going to Bondo are not going to Bondo because of the respect they have for Raila. They are going to Bondo because it is when a king dies, when a big man dies, people attend to go to the grave, or attend to go and view the body with an aim of harvesting spirit, a spirit that is in man head. You see, Uhuru didn't go home after they buried. Uhuru didn't go home. And if you watch keenly, when Uhuru was throwing his soil to the grave, he removed a ring. Just used this finger to remove a huge ring, black huge ring. He pushed it, dropped it in the coffin in Bondo. Then at the time of kuweka maua, protocol, he was supposed to lay pamoja na Ruto Pandei. But he said, no, this is my brother, a covenant brother. For Raila and Uhuru, they were covenant brothers. These covenant brothers, and I need one day you go and do this research, these covenant brothers was not cemented now. It was cemented long time ago, 60s, in Taita Taveta, where they have a home. There is a shrine in Taita Taveta owned by the Kenyatta family, where Oginga and Kenyatta made a covenant together. And also this guy from Coast, who was chama ya Moi ilikuwa inaitwa nini? Kanu. Ule jamaa alikuwa Coast alikuwa inaitwa nani? A popular family. Wacha madoka hao wengine.
I'm trying to remember, but
the king of Pwani, alikuwa king of Pwani. Nitakumbuka tu before I finish this nini. That one, they made covenant, accord at the shrine, which is in the land of Kenyatta, in Taita Taveta. And since the system, the altar that rules Kenya is in Taita Taveta. It is not anywhere else. So that is why if this family, they will fight, but they will come together. When they are endangered, they come together. But when they are not endangered, they can go out and fight. You see, Raila had to come and say Kibaki Tosha. Raila had to go to Moi. All these things is because that covenant that was made by Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. This accord was renewed in Bondo when Uhuru went and became friends with Raila once again. And they had a covenant. And this covenant, this is why the ring that Uhuru was wearing had to drop it, because it's like the marriage has gone. But now stop that. That is not of interest to this nation. What is of interest to this nation post Raila? Now, who was able to capture the spirit of Raila, to take away the spirit of Raila? There are two people that were able to take it. His son was not able. Remember when they were inaugurating the son, his kofia, the symbol of power, authority, dropped down. When he was doing the spear this way, the symbol of authority, the kofia went down. And the fly whisk that was with the man, the ritualist, the man that was doing the ritual, the high priest, it also dropped down. When the kofia dropped down, his also. And those are two powers. Those are two
instruments of power.
Traditionally. For you to become what they wanted this boy to become, this had to remain in kwa kichwa yake na hiyo fly whisk, alafu na hiyo mkuki, alafu aseme joy. Sasa hapo ingekuwa transferred, meaning this thing was not transferred to the boy. It was not transferred to the boy. Let's come back. Uhuru did not go home. Once we buried Raila, he stayed there. And the following morning on a Sunday, on a Monday, is it Monday or Sunday? Monday. They buried him on Sunday. On Monday, Uhuru was at the grave at 10 a.m. To do what?
Mourning. He was mourning his brother.
His brother. He was mourning louder than Yoburu. Mourning louder than Winnie. Mourning louder than Ida. So what is this that was causing him to mourn and cry relentlessly? Was it because they were so close? The person who used to call Mogoroki? The person who used to call a witch? The person who used to call all manner of them? Now you've come so close now until you want even to go to the grave and stay there with him. That was harvesting, trying to harvest the spirit that Raila had.
Apostle now you're...
Yes. This apostle now is talking. I'm in my office now. Now, this one, he did it to some extent, but he did not do it to make him become that king that Raila was. And many other people have gone there, Kina Urengo, Kina Nani, but the person who did it right, and perfectly right, it is Kalonzo. When you are harvesting a spirit, you must give a sacrifice. Are you getting me?
Okay.
When you are harvesting a spirit, you must give a sacrifice. And a sacrifice that belongs to the spirit. A sacrifice that is given to the spirit, that spirit. For Luos, when somebody dies, you could see a Kina Wamaru, a Kina Nani were bringing 2 cows, 5 cows, what this. When a Luo dies, a Luo elder, cows are taken. Bulls for slaughters for them to be eaten. So King Solomon, he was sent by God to go to Mount Gibeon. He was already a king.
Yeah.
He had already powers and everything. But he was told to go to Mount Gibeon. And when he went to Mount Gibeon, God told him to slaughter 1,000 cows. Then after he slaughtered, when he went to sleep, God appeared to him and asked him, tell me what you want.
Actually, kwenye maandiko anasema he slaughtered hadi damu ikafika kwenye kiuno.
Mpaka kiuno. God akaapia kwake when he was asleep, amelala chini kupumzika. Jinsi walichinja mang'ombe. God appeared to him and akamwambia, tell me what you want and I will give it to you. Solomon requested God for wisdom. So this sacrifice of 1,000 cows was for wisdom. Because he was already a king. And being a king, you own everything.
Yeah.
What you cannot inherit from your father is wisdom. What you cannot inherit from the instruments of power is wisdom. Because wisdom comes from heaven. So Solomon became a king, but without wisdom. Because the kingdom that was given belonged to his father David. So it was an extension of his father. So he wanted to cut the lineage between him and the father so that he can build his own territory. Are you seeing now?
Yeah.
And to build your own territory, you have to break the altars of your father. You break the altars of your generational altars, the altars that rule in your family, for you to become independent. You have to cut the umbilical cord for you to become yourself. So what actually happened is that Uhuru went to the graveside. He prayed, he did whatever he did, but he never gave a sacrifice.
Maybe he did that in secret.
He didn't take cows. An altar is serviced by which formed it. Are you getting me now? An altar is serviced by what founded it. The kingdom of the Luo community, the Wanga kingdom, is founded by the altars where cows are involved. Bulls are involved. Are you getting me? So Akina Wamarwa knew it and they took like 5. That is what they got from Raila. Others took, Akina Natembea did that. All these other tribes, the Luo tribes who went there, they went with the bulls, 3, 4, 5. And this is what the Kasimosha they got from there. But the man who knew and he knew what to do, he took a delegation. 2 delegations. 2 types of delegation, 3 types of delegations. He took the traditionalists from Mukambani. Getting me? He took the politicians from Mukambani. And he also took the religious leaders. The pastors, the bishops. He went with them. Then he knew I have to take something from there. He went with more than 130. There are more.
Yeah.
Some died. Some were weak to be brought. Somebody who was there told me there were about 200. Some that were weak to be shown were left behind. But the ones that were shown were 150. And once they did what he did, he came with the instruments
of
power from the Ukambani to exchange with the instruments of power from the Luo so that they can merge together. So he sacrificed at the altar of the Luo king The altar, that grave already is now an altar. He sacrificed at the altar of the Luo king. So he disinherited the Luo kingdom, took it to Kambani kingdom. He commanded now, after sacrificing at the altar of this Luo king,
He inaugurated the sun.
inaugurated the son as now a new king.
But then nobody did that. Ndio nilikuwa najiuliza, under whose authority is he doing this?
That is upstairs here, spiritually. This man was up. Maybe because we prayed with him. So this man knew exactly what he was going for. And look at Ida. Look at all the time Ida has spoken. Which other time has she spoken with happiness, like during the Kalonzo day? You've never seen Ida saying what she did. You've never heard Orengo doing what he did. All the people who are sidekicks, Akina Oburu, Akina Nini, they were not there. And they had no recognition. Why did Orengo come on board? In the absence of Raila, in terms of politics, the most senior person in the Luo land, it is Orengo, not Oburu. Yeah. So the deputy king of the Luo community was Orengo. So Orengo came and handed over the instruments of power to Kalonzo. So the one that will speak with authority, and that is why everything now is working towards him. Remember what I told you at Uhuru Park? I told you, because of what has happened today, Kalonzo has spoken to the spirits. And Kalonzo now will be able to command. And after this, in a few days, we shall be having the breaking news. Meaning, there is a change of an era. A change of a program, initiated whatever he did in the Uhuru Park. He ended one era and started an era. And that's why he had to go to the grave to take over, to finish the game that he started at the Uhuru Park. This is something that it is not you. You are led. You are God-led. Yes. It is not Kalonzo. And that's why I told you, if Kalonzo misses this one, God will just take him away. Because he is God-led now. He is not the Kalonzo man who plans. He is God-led.
You want to say, nyota ya uongozi kwa juu ya Kalonzo?
Iko kwa Kalonzo. By all means. By all means. Sasa mtu mwenye anaweza kumugonga na ana uwezo wa kumugonga ni Ruto. Si ya wengine wote. Even if who comes and says Kalonzo tosha, nani aseme Kalonzo, everybody in Kenya waseme Kalonzo tosha, Ruto can still be able to defeat him. Ruto was never elected to power. He was prayed into power. Now being prayed into power has different dimensions. Remember, he went to all churches in Kenya giving sacrifices to churches. He went to Pentecostals. He was giving 4 million, 4 million, 4 million, 4 million. That's he did. He went to all traditional elders, the Kikuyu traditional, the Kaya traditional, the Kalenjin tradition, the Kisii, and they sacrificed in their altars. Then this Farouk and Uyu MP wa huko, Eldoret, Uyu wa class 3. Sudi. Sudi and Akina Farouk went to Tanzania and they picked a sheikh, a Muslim sheikh. Hawa sasa wanyota waganga wa Kiislamu.
Where are you getting this information, Apostle?
From heaven. And this Muganga went to all 47 counties and they buried a live goat. Yes. Tell anybody, they have mentioned them, tell them to deny. And right now, they had promised to pay this Muganga money. They didn't pay him. So, I was giving a scenario. The only person who can beat Kalonzo now, if Kalonzo fails to understand, but I can see he's doing so, this battle will be won at the altars. Whichever altar, whether it's demonic altar or godly altars, who will do it smart will win it. It is not about popularity. It is not about who is strong. It is not about who has money. is about altars. And this is what will make Kalonzo go down. If he doesn't sort out the problem, the mess that is around his life, the mess of altars. If he finds way to fight, destroy the altars of the Ukambani, one altar that he has to fight from the Ukambani, it is Sio Kimau, that woman. Siombesa. Siombesa is a woman that told all men, he lit fire, and he asked all men to urinate on that fire. Then he told these men that forever you will be under women. Mulu Mutisia is the founding father of the Ukambani. He was like the king of the Ukambani. He laid altars that nobody can go beyond. That's what we see. Kalonzo, sometimes he becomes very popular nationally, but he doesn't go beyond Ukambani region. He will become popular in the nation. But when it comes to votes, when it comes to transferring the popularity into power, anaishianga Ukambani, because there is a curse, there are words spoken against men rising. Look at mtu anaitwa Muthama. Muthama can kohoa in the whole nation. He was chairman of UDA.
Yeah.
But where is he now? What power does he? Can he employ a person in a county council government? He can't. He doesn't have powers. He was thrown out. Not because he's weak. Not because Kalonzo is weak. But the altars that speak in his life will contain them if they don't rectify within this short time. Because Ruto knows how to do. Ruto has the Talam elders in the Kalenjin land. He has Kongo Muigai from the Kikuyu. He has the Kaya. Just the other day, there is this woman in Lamu, the renowned woman, a known woman, a very powerful woman spiritually, which hata Raila alikuwa anaendanga kwake. Last week but one, aliletwa State House kuambia kusaidia Ruto in the mambo ya spirit. Nitakwambia jina yake na picha yake nitakutumia. Na hata akipanda ndege nilimuona kutoka Mombasani. Yes.
So unasema hii ni vita ya madhabahu.
Ni vita ya madhabahu. It is no longer vita ya kura. It is no longer vita ya popularity. It's not about popularity. Raila was never popular. Raila had an altar that was popular, that was strong, that was powerful. That is why Raila was ever a president of Kenya, was ever a king. He will not be elected. Kings are not elected. Kings are brought up by the forces that be. So that's why Raila always remained a king. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
And that's why many people like the people in Kikuyu land, because Kikuyu land don't have kings. In Kikuyu land we have leaders, Jaba. Therefore, what is happening now, and this is what I will urge Kalonzo, not to make a mistake. If he makes a mistake, no matter whoever, even if he's backed by the whole world. In fact, I want to tell you, the British are backing Kalonzo. The Americans are backing Kalonzo. The world is with Kalonzo. But if he does not address the spiritual aspect, he's going to lose.
Tukiendelea.
Yes.
On the issue of life post Raila, Raila is now gone. What do you think? How has it affected Kenya? And are there people who are celebrating that Raila is no longer in power?
Yes, many people are celebrating, more especially people who know God. Yeah, they are celebrating. Because Raila was an impediment towards the revival of the gospel. He was a king. You see, there were three things I've always explained to you what happened and the type of people, leaders we have in this country. We have leadership that is controlled by the Luciferic people, that is the Freemasons and all those. And we also have the other system of the Jesuits. The Jesuits come from the Catholic Church. It is the most powerful organization. People, they don't know. Is more powerful. The Jesuit leader is more powerful than the Pope himself. They're the ones who control the business angle, the political angle, who is supposed to die, who is supposed to live, what's supposed to be done at this time, which country is supposed to be invaded. Those are the Jesuits. And the Kenyatta Oginga axis were the Jesuits. But the Ruto and the other axis, the Moi axis, were the Luciferians. That's why you find Freemason during the Moi was in charge of State House. And that's why we have a tunnel from the Freemasons Nyerere Road to State House, to Cathedral, to St. Andrews, to the KICC. Remember when the members of parliament found themselves in a dangerous position, they were opened into a tunnel that took them to State House. Then they were evacuated, and another tunnel that took them to KICC, and they were evacuated. Do you know there's another tunnel that goes to the National Archive? Hapa Kencom, katika hapo Kencom, there is a tunnel hapo Kencom, inaingia mpaka kwa National Archive. In the National Archive ndio kumefichwa siri nyingi sana za British government. You can go and Google and find that. Top secrets, they were buried there in a tunnel which is there. Hiyo ni ya siku ingine nitakwambia. So, exit of Raila for Kenya, towards in Kenya, yani tukiangalia Kenya, the exit Raila is a major breakthrough. Because one impediment has gone. Another one is supposed to go. For Kenya to be free, there are several impediments that must go. So that Kenya can have a spiritual freedom. When they went there, when you see them going to harvest that spirit, they are causing, they are defiling the nation. They are defiling the breakthroughs that can come to Kenya for the sake of the revival, for the sake of the kingdom that God wants to institute. Because that was a kingdom that was meant to stop the kingdom of God to come. So that is why God had to remove him from the scenario. And he had to use this man, Kalonzo, to announce his bid at Uhuru Park, because Uhuru Park is a portal. It's a spiritual portal. Like Mount Kenya is a spiritual portal. Lake Victoria is a spiritual portal. Mama Ngina Street in Mombasa is a spiritual portal. And somehow Katondo is a spiritual portal. So the exit of Raila opened a door for the freedom. You can see the religious, the spiritual atmosphere will be more freer. Remember when the Gen Zs were rising up to remove the regime, it is him who came and stopped. Because the regime that was supposed to be removed is a demonic regime that they are part of. And these Gen Zs were coming to remove this regime from power. So he came and rose up and stood against the removal. He was the one who stopped the removal at the expense of many thousands of people who died, at the expense of many businesses that went down, at the expense of a liberation that was meant to be in Kenya. Now Kenya would be free. Kenya would be worshiping God freely. But now because he got in, a man known to be a liberator, a man known to be that person who fights for people. And these children were fighting for their rights. A man who is known to be a fighter for the freedom and freedom of people, he came and stopped the fighters of the freedom, instead joined the hands with the oppressors of the freedom. Now you can see what kind of a man he was. He was not truly for the sake of the freedom fighting. He was for the sake of preserving the kingdom that is known to the few. So therefore, the exit of this man is an opening of a new dimension of politics in Kenya. And for the first time now, you will find all this, the struggle now that will come, many people will rise up. The people who, the nobodies, will come strongly, business will come strongly, and the social life will come strongly, and we have a spiritual freedom. There will be a spiritual freedom in this country. But again, another of them, the same blood, the same feather, has to go.
Okay.
Yes. There is another that will lead to Anusu Mlingoti.
And who is that?
A Kenyan.
Prominent.
Yeah, wewe bendera inaweza kuteremshwa mlingoti kwa sababu yako. Ama mimi. Of course it's the club.
Yeah.
Yes. And that one will lead to the total freedom. Kenya will have now total freedom. Yeah, total freedom.
And of course, how if Raila right now, you know, he went at a specific time. I'm a protester at the presidency. I'm protester at the AUC seat. How would Yanu Kiangaleo, if you try to look from that broad aspect of it, ile void ameacha ni gani?
Hakuna void in the spiritual world order. Ameacha void kubwa sana. Because this is now what, like you see, a person like Uhuru going back to the grave and many other people going back to the grave, because it's like they have been left fatherless. He was the father of these people in the spiritual realm. He was the father of these people. It's like now they were left without a father. They were left orphans. Look at the person like Suna MP. He's no longer speaking now. Look at the Bandi. Bandi is always crying everywhere he's going. You saw Kina Ishongwa. Bandi paid Ishongwa to go to the Luo land and wear an ODM hat to go and make noises about resisting the ODM. Ruto is going to Mombasa. Sherehe ya ODM. Imefanyika?
Inaendelea huko na
ataenda ama tume watu yake huko. Waende wote watavaa kofia za ODM because there is a vacuum. A spiritual vacuum. Everybody is trying to get it and is not getting it. And also the Luo land will remain fragmented. The Luo land will be split into 3 or 4 angles, and it will go basically towards the counties, the Kisumu County, the Migori County, the Siaya County. They will go that way. Like now we have the Nyeri County, Murang'a County. The way Ruto is trying to separate Murang'a, Kiambu from Mount Kenya. Because they say, you watu wa Kiambu, you don't speak like watu wa Nyeri. You Nyeri, you don't speak like watu wa Murang'a. That kind of a thing. That will play. That will play around. Where Orengo is influential, the people of Orengo will follow him towards where he's gonna go. Where Akina Uburu are influential, they will do the same. Where Akina Gladys Wanga are influential, they will do the same. But of course, watu kama Gladys Wanga, watu kama Uburu, watu kama Junet, watu kama Badi, all those people are in the government. They are going to be extinguished completely from the political scene. They are going to... ODM itasambaratika yote kabisa, kabisa. Lakini kutabaki ka ODM, ka kina Sifuna, ka kina it will be maintained, that has ideologies of Raila, but they won't survive the test of time.
Actually, kuna wengine wanasema Raila's death really saved Mother Karua big time.
Yeah, for sure. Not in Mother Karua. Not Mother Karua at all. It saved the Kikuyus big time. You know, sometimes God will work and you think like God did not love you, but he loved you. You know those Australian guy who say say gods must be crazy. For sure, that is what could have happened to Kenya. If, for example, Mother Karua was the deputy of Raila being the president, and then such a thing happens, he dies, who will not imagine it is Mother Karua? And I remember Mother Karua was coming to make things straight. Remember that. Mother Karua was coming, she's a strickler. She's that woman who will just bulldoze anything as long as she believes it is legal and lawful. And this is a woman from Kirinyaga. The woman who have no nonsense, who even if you bang them, even if you tell them anything, those are from, I think, Geshogo. Is that Geshogo or India? Is that Geshogo? They are very tough women. They control everything. They're the people who are hands-on. Raila was a father of cartels, a father of thieves, a father of dealers, a father of anything that you call on earth. Because you remember how many times he saved Sakaja. Before he died, he had received a check of 400 million from Sakaja to save Sakaja from the removal. Now, look here. This is a man that was to protect the dealers, the thieves. the whatevers of this nation. That was Raila for you. This is a man who will be drinking together with Uhuru in State House. When Martha Karua wants them to go to Kisumu, want them to go to Garissa, want them to go somewhere, want them to do this, they will frustrate Karua. And the Karua will become so tough, trying to fight corruption from within. You see now? So she will be projected as a person who is trying to fight Raila. And now Raila dies. Now who would have caused the death of Raila? It is mother. And then every person will come and rise up and say, Kikuyu wameua Raila, Kikuyu wameua baba, because of Martha Karua. So Martha Karua will be victimized. She will be told to step down. People will come and rise and say, you have to explain to us, nini ilikula baba. Now Raila, the whole government will be destroyed completely. Remember, 90% of the people in the government will be Luos. Yeah. The army officers, the police, the NSIS, the street boys hapa, kina nani, wangekuwa sasa ndio kubwa hapa ndio the saying, wangekuwa governors will be, everything will be, remember now, you're having a person fighting you, a person of the caliber of the SG, wa ODM. And Ako in power. He is in the ruling government. And his boss has died because you have been trying to make things straight. And now they think you're the one who have killed the boss. What could have happened to this land? It is civil war. It was a blessing in this case for the Kikuyus and Karua. Karua angeisha kabisa, angepigwa, hata angepigwa marisasi. Because it could have been said, because there is no way Karua angekaa chini, aangalie corruption ikiendelea. Because Baba will condone. Baba was the most corrupt person on earth. Nobody. Martha Karua could not have sat down to condone this. She could have said no. She could have walked out. She could have fought. Now, unfortunately, mzee akufe akiwa president. Again, hebu angalia kama walifanya venye walifanya akiwa hana power. What if angekuwa in power? Nani angefanya kitu? Who would have said anything? Kikuyus could have been enemies of the Luos forever. And the people in the Kalenjin community would have used that to make 42 against 1 again. Sometimes God will say, you think that umenyaganywa, you think that mambo yakwenda vizuri, but if you look at them critically, vizuri ufanya calculation yako, unaona ni Mungu alikusefu. Mungu alitaka tu kukusefu. Because career ya Martha Karua ingeisha kabisa, na angeitwa muuaji forever. Na hakuna mtu angemprotect because the state once this Raila angeingia into power, Kenya ni ungejua ukabila ni nini. Ungekuwa na venye unaonanga Harambee Stars ni hivyo ndivyo kungekuwa Kenya mzima. Hata Madio mangekuwa
But Raila wasn't tribal.
He was tribal. No, it isn't about the king. It's about the people behind the king.
Raila.
The people supporting the king. The people building the king. Raila will not. Raila hata angejua what is happening. That's what I'm saying. Hata Samia hajui what is happening. There are people running the system. There are people who are powerful. During the Kibaki was sleeping. Kibaki never operated the whole 5 years. Hakufanya kazi. Ni kina Joe, na kina Matere Kereri, hao ndio walikuwa in power. They're the people who are running the show. Sudi anafaa kutafutiwa scandal sahi. Afungiwa kai ndani. Scandal ya mada, scandal ya kitu hivi. By the time he fights hizo mada zake, hii miaka 2 ipite. Because kama kuna mtu atamweka kwa ni Faruku, Sudi, nani mwingine wa makelele Wichera Algei. Hizo hawa watu they're the ones who put this guy in deep shit. Deep shit. Yeah.
So hao ndo nafaa kuwa tempt zaidi.
Hii big mouth need awatafute tu scandal tu. Hata wasemekane walirepu maid, walirepu nini, wafungiwe tu kama venye Biwott. Remember the time Biwott was locked up by Moi? When Biwott was untouchable. Because Moi realized huyu jamaa ananiharibia. He had to lock him inside to save his name.
Walimcharge na mashtaka gani?
Ilikuwa corruption. Alafu wakamletea kisingizio ya kuua Biwott nini, akaanza kujitetea na hizo as Moi kept on going. Sometimes you sacrifice some of your friends, my friend. for you to live. For him to be anywhere, he need to deal with Farouk completely, once and for all. Huyo ndio
Mhonzi Ken Rugaba.
Wake.
Now, tukimalizia Prophet Apostle Ndura Waruingi.
Prophet for the first time. I receive it. Not an need. Theorist. Inaenda kichange. Unaenda ukiinsist kufanya kitu the same the way vizuri. Sometimes the world will defend you, fight for you.
President Ruto has been touring the Ukambani region. And he has been on a very huge charm offensive trying to convince Kambas that Kalonzo amewaacha nyuma. And then
there are two cards he's trying to use. The Muslim card and the Moi card. Remember, all the time Kikuyus were against Moi, he never went to Kikuyus. Alikuwa anatembelea kidogo lakini anaenda anatafuta these small tribes. Walikuwa naitwa Kamatusa. Kamatusa ni these small tribes, the Turkanas, the Pokots, the Kisis, all these were the tribes that were built to fight Kikuyus.
The minor tribes.
The minor tribes. Those are the tribes that he's really targeting. And also trying to split like Ukambani kulete kupaka Kalonzo matope ashike kadhaa, because Kamba you can be able to sway them. Ukiwanunulia kaunga kidogo you can be able to sway them kidogo. For them is about like alipata kama ni 20%. Lakini target yake ni ku build wa Somali waonekane ni wengi. And also remember wameregister watu na ID ambazo ni fake. Wanataka kuproject wa Somali wakuwe ni kama they are 6.5 million. Yes, that is what the next statistics ambayo itakuja, wa Somali watakuwa around 6.5 million, 5 million. Itakuwa an imaginary figure, ndio wakikuja kuiba kura venye kama Samia itakuwa justifiable. Now akipata anataka kureplace wa Kikuyu na wa Somali. This is what they are working out, to replace the Kikuyus who voted for him with the Somali community. Now the Somali community represents the minority, bigger minority, become the big brothers of the minority people. They have the liquid, they have everything, they have the control. They give, and this is the same thing that happened in Tanzania. The Somalis in Kenya walimsaidia Samia Suluhu Hassan sana because they have invested heavily in Tanzania. So this also will happen to us because they will want to retain Ruto and the Akina Duales here because of what in Samia wameinvest Kenya, what kina Kikwete wameinvest in Kenya. But the real thing Ruto is trying to do about, because Ruto, you can think unaweza fikiria mko na Ruto, but Ruto is doing other games. The game that Ruto is doing is to make sure now the population ya wa Somalia imeongezeka to replace Kikuyus. Number two, arudi ashike all these small tribes, the Kisis, the Wakurias, the Mombasa Mijikendas huko, wajasiririe kikapu. Sama kwa mfano akapata wa Somali tuseme apate 6 million for example, ama 5 million. Wa Kalenjin they are also about 5 million or 6. Amepata around 11 million. Akijasiriria na hao wengine atapata kitu 14 million. At the same time Kalonzo akipata za Wakikuyu zote, Kikuyu they are 8. The Wakambas they are about 4 itakuwa 12. Sasa wakijasiriria itakuja also around 14. So Ruto what is looking for ni mahali wataenda wakue, hata kama watashindwa na kule 100,000. Atasimama aseme hajashindwa na atawin na atabulldoze. What they are looking for it is kama ni milioni 12, kama ni 13, wa both sides. Anataka that at par to be able now to come strongly, akatalie kwa kiti na finye watu wawili watatu na apishwe kama Samia Suluhu Hassan. This is what they are planning. They will not go Samia way as 98%. They will go Kibaki way. 48, 49%, 51%, 48%, 52% hapo.
A difference margin of around 50,000 votes.
Yes. So that they can do anything with it. They can juggle around with it and then contain everything.
But can even succeed?
Ruto is smart. Sinilikwambia. Ruto, he will be having the government. He will be having the strategies. Already they are planning. While the Uhuru is trying to bring these people together, this guy is planning. He's already planned for the election. He's already planned for the computers zitakuja zitatoka wapi. He planned for nani atakuwa nini, nani atakuwa wapi, nani atakuwa wapi. Like now, watch see what will happen in uko Embu. In the by-election ya Embu. It is a reflection of what will happen in the nation. They are planning and they are ready to steal. They have already stolen. They have already done it. Now what kwa ground, they are charged. They want to teach this man narration. Now this man anasema, I have to take it. Whether you like it
so
or not.
that one will be like, let me say, the SI unit of how far he can go.
Yes.
That
one will tell him how far. Na ile ya ni Kabuchwero ama ni wapi? Yuko Uluyani.
Malava, kuna Malava.
Those two need testing. Those two.
If he loses, then he knows chances of...
If he loses, also Kinduki has gone.
What do you mean?
That's it. If he loses, Kindiki.
If he loses this by-election?
Yes. Kindiki is gone. He will start working a way of removing Kindiki. Or remain with him, but groom somebody to take over Kindiki.
So hata pia kwa pale kwa 2027 the nini presidential running mate tofauti.
Hajajua ni nani watakuwa naye. Yeah. Watu wanajua presidential candidate atakuwa nani, lakini deputy hapana. Sasa anawe kuangalia politics za Wajaluo zinaendaje, na politics za Ukambani zinaendaje, na politics za he may also decide to go with Ukambani presidential candidate. Anaweza chukua Wavinya.
Wavinya na vigumu.
Ni rahisi sana. The easiest person to sway in that.
Wavinya ni Kalonzo damu.
Sawa, thank you.
Ukisikia Wavinya akisema this is Kalonzo's time, come rain, come sunshine.
Yes.
The Kambas have been neglected for long.
Yes.
Sio kila wakati wana support
watu. Sisemi ataruka, wacha kulia, najua mimi najua wewe ni wapi. Wacha kulia. Nasema napatia na example. Nasema anaweza kununuliwa, anaweza kuenda. Ruto will only want to disorganize. And this one is a plan A of the whole scenario ya hiyo vitu zote tumesema. Plan B, hakutakuwa na elections.
That is plan B.
Plan B hakutakuwa.
How will that even be possible?
It will be possible.
How?
Ukiona kitu nazungumzwa na Museveni kusema boda ya pwani ni pate ya Kenya, na akasema future could be war. If they can stage manage a war between Kenya and Uganda. Because they can.
How now?
Yeah?
How?
What you heard Museveni said, it's possible. They can. They can cause. Naruto wanaweza kupanga Naruto because kikosi ni kimoja. Na kusemekana kuna vita. Wakikuyu 3 4 wapelekwa kwenye boda. Na Wajaluo na Wakamba wapelekwa kwenye boda, waende wapigwe marisasi, kusemekana kuna tension between two nations. Just the same we say, unaona Tanzania kuna tension between Kenya na Tanzania. Ikikuwa venye wanajaribu kuproject ikue, kutakuwa hakuwezi kufanyika election kwa sababu Kenya is not stable and it's constitutional. Hiyo ndio plan B. Hakuna elections. Possibly plan B.
Okay, tukimalizia Apostle, ambia wafuasi wako na mashabiki wako.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I want to appreciate you now that mumeanza kunitambua kama nabii. Hata ndosi mwenyewe amesema nabii. Sawa. I'm not a prophet. But I have an office, a prophetic office. I'm not a prophet, but I have an office. I'm a prophetic office. Those are two different things. But I want to tell you, people of Kenya, I know some of you might not be happy because of what I say. Of course, I'm not here to make you happy. Everybody. Hata Mungu hajafurahishangi kila mtu. Mungu ni dictator. Na anafanyanga what he wants.
There is no democracy.
There's no democracy with God. So hii yote tunasemanga is just for entertainment. To make you happy as you go home. Lakini zikifanyika, tunaambia Mungu hallelujah. But also, let us love our country and let us be mature enough. Good for what you did to Tanzania, the support. They also need your support in a month's time from today. Let us support them in prayers. Know that it is a battle of altars, not what you think. It is not your vote. It is not your political stance. It is not your tribe. It is not anything. It is the battle of altars that we need to pray. We need to repent genuinely. We need to seek God. I'm based at Coffee Plaza. Coffee Plaza is along Haile Selassie Avenue, opposite Easy Coach buses. The house is Coffee Plaza, mezzanine floor. Come. My number is 0722-239-555. 0722-239-555. You're welcome from Monday to Sunday. I am here to receive you. God bless you as you also pray for me to have more and more for you. God bless you.